This is Between the Uprights. Football is life. The rest is just details. Here are your hosts, Joe, Matt, and Kris.
We already gave you our AFC defensive lineup all time. We're about to go and give you our AFC offensive lineup of all time. We're going to start in the trenches again, where everything is won, as the Eagles proved in the Super Bowl this year against the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to start with the offensive line now. I have a caveat. Finding a right tackle to be an all-time great right tackle turns out to be very difficult. So, certain people, not going to point fingers, Matt, decided to shift a generational talent at left tackle to right tackle, and I'm going to let him tell me who his left tackle is for this pick, just so I can tell you who his right tackle is, so that we can have clarity, because I had to go with Sebastian Vollmer as the only right tackle I could find worth a shit, who I could actually put in here who was a right tackle his entire career. So we're going to skip that, save it for last. Matt, hold your breath. You can explain yourself when you talk about it. We're going to start at the center position in the AFC, where I'm going to pick the only center that I truly, truly love and respect. It was a key component of a great offense, one of the best offenses we have seen in the early 2000s with Peyton Manning at the helm. This is a Jeff Saturday center position all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. I love Jeff Saturday. He is a great center. He is a great, great offensive lineman, and you cannot argue with that. On either side of him, you have to have two generational guards. So I'm going to go with one of the best guards, and Gil Brandt's absolute best guard of all time, John Hannah. John Hannah is the greatest guard of all time. You cannot argue it. This man, known for what he did, and it's not a homer pick, I swear. I looked at other people's lists too, just to make sure I wasn't full of shit. John Hannah is listed number 1 or number 2 on everybody's guard list. He's going to make this offensive line regardless. On the other side of him, Bruce Matthews. I like Bruce Matthews. Bruce Matthews is my pick on the other side of Jeff Saturday. I think that my interior offensive line is really, really good. I like them against any defensive tackle setup that you're going to put up against them, because all of these guys can work in tandem or on their own if they need to, and provide extra help on stunts and everything else. Now that we've gotten our center and our guards out of the way, Matt, who is my right tackle?
Listen, Joe, it's something that that my ex-girlfriends would not say about me, hopefully. But I'm a cheater, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a big old cheater. Again, hopefully that my ex-girlfriends wouldn't have anything to say about that. But I'm a big old cheater, ladies and gentlemen. I'm at right tackle. Again, like he said, it's hard to choose a right tackle, okay? It's really hard to choose, especially in the AFC. Go look at the greatest AFC right tackles of all time. It's a very short list, okay? There's not, like, you're not looking at, like, all-time great right tackles in the AFC. So what I decided to do was take one of the greatest left tackles of all time and say, you don't think this guy could play right tackle? You don't think this guy would be literally the greatest right tackle of all time? So what I chose to do was put Joe Thomas over at right tackle. Now, again, he literally did not play a single snap at right tackle. Not one singular snap did Joe Thomas play at right tackle. But again, we all know Joe Thomas would have been the greatest right tackle of all time. So again, there's a lot more great left tackles. Let's shift one of the greatest left tackles to right tackles. Joe Thomas, 10 Pro Bowls in his first 10 seasons, was a Pro Bowler all of his first 10 seasons, 6-time All-Pro, a Hall of Famer. Not only was he dominant, but he played 10,363 consecutive snaps from his rookie year until week 7 of his 11th and final season. He was dominant and reliable. So not only is he dominant and reliable on the left side, he's going to be dominant and reliable on the right side of this offensive line, Joe. So again, I don't care if you think I'm a cheater. I don't care about none of that, okay? I'm going with Joe Thomas as my right tackle. Now, my left tackle, okay? This is where it gets a little bit, there's a lot more options here, but the one that I went with was the 6'9", 345-pound behemoth from the Baltimore Ravens. And again, have fun getting around this guy from Baltimore. This is Jonathan Ogden, the left tackle from the Baltimore Ravens. I went with Ogden. Again, he was the left tackle for their 2000 Super Bowl teams and for the Jamal Lewis 2,000-yard season in 2003 as well. 11 straight Pro Bowls from 1997 to 2007. 9 straight All-Pro, or 9 All-Pros in a 10-year span from 97 to 06. A first ballot Hall of Famer. One of the most dominant left tackles of all time. So yeah, I cheated with Joe Thomas, okay? But it's because Jonathan Jonathan Ogden is on that left side, okay? So now our tackles, again, instead of having to be freaking Sebastian Vollmer on the right side, okay, we get to have Joe Thomas on the right side, okay? I would much rather have that for an all-time team as far as tackles go, Joe. So, yeah, you can criticize me all you want, but we got Joe Thomas on the freaking team.
To be fair, I played by the rules in this, and Sebastian Vollmer or Michael Orr were the only two right tackles I could find that were worth the shit.
I'm freaking Barry Bonds right now. This is performance enhancing drugs. Okay, this is what we're doing with this draft. Okay, we're using PEDs to juice this team up. Okay, and Joe Thomas is the right tackle.
Oh man, so I get it, right? I understand. I get it. Am I happy about it? No, but to your point, that is a great offensive line, right? And to your point, nothing says that a left tackle can't play right tackle. In fact, we have seen sometimes that left tackles go to right tackle and play right tackle better than they do left tackle, because usually the left tackle is dealing with the best pass rusher on the team. So Joe Thomas is a Hall of Fame left tackle. Yep. The guy's probably would be instantaneously the best right tackle to have ever played the game. Bar none, hands down, see you later. So I get why you did it. I can just disagree with why you did it, because it feels dirty to me. I feel dirty doing it. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the next position, which is the tight end position. The tight end position is almost just bar none, hands down, write it in, mail it in, who you going to pick. This is the guy. But we're going to do two tight ends for this, because you need to have that inline blocking tight end who can catch the ball for you pretty well and do some things. But you also like that move tight end idea as well. And we have two guys for that. So, Kris, I don't think we really need to talk about that much, but go ahead and tell us who your AFC tight ends are.
I agree. I don't think we need to talk about it much at all, because quite honestly, we've been talking about them throughout the offseason. We've put up little things, kind of pairing them together to see who was the best, who could be considered the GOAT of that particular position. I don't think there's a lot to really say about it. It's Rob Gronkowski and it's Travis Kelce. If you have those two tight ends, you probably have the best tight end duo ever to see the field together in the NFL, whether it's on the AFC or NFC. It doesn't matter, because you have Rob Gronkowski, who's an overall tight end. He catches the ball very well. He's dynamic. He is also a great pass blocker. We know he is down with the nitty-gritty. He has no problem mailing people out of the way, pushing people out of the way. He has no problem with that whatsoever. He can also take the top off of a defense and get down the field, catch a ball, and go for a touchdown easily. Both of those. Then you have one of the best, in my opinion, just a big-time wide receiver that is kind of moonlighting as a tight end, and that being Travis Kelce, who he's been doing it for years with the Chiefs. So you can't really go wrong with having both of those guys on the field. Who's going to look at them and try to figure out which one they're double teaming, because you can't double team both. So then you're just leaving the inside in. So then you're going to have, obviously, when we get down to wide receivers, your wide receivers are going to be wide open. If you have to double team those guys, then you have some wide receivers who are going to be clearly open, and that's going to give the defense hell on water. So for me, I would take Rob Gronkowski and Travis Kelce as the tight end options.
Yeah, and it's hard to argue with that selection, and when you talk about the greatest tight ends of all time, and you really had a difficult choice realistically, because Tony Gonzalez is an AFC tight end. Like, you have Antonio Gates. Like, there is so many people on the tight end list. Oh yeah, Antonio Gates is fantastic. I mean, there are so many other ones that were just below that, just barely below that realistically. I mean, we talked about Benjamin Watson in the defensive thing when he ran down Champ Bailey. I love Ben Watson. He's not in that caliber, but I love Ben Watson as a player. I have to mention his name. I love that. That's still, I'm still thinking about it. Every time.
Matt's not feeling that.
No, but one of the greatest tight end plays ever.
Sure. Okay. We can say that. Yeah.
Because he ran down one of the fastest corners in the NFL, and he traveled more than 100 yards. All right. It was insane. But I digress. I just wanted to say that again. I'm still thinking about it. But we're going to move on to the wide receiver position here. And Matt, you actually had a really tough task in my mind of finding great AFC wide receivers, because when you remove Randy Moss from the time he played in the AFC, because he didn't play enough of his time in the AFC to meet the AFC requirement of this, because our requirement was you had to play most of your career in the conference that you were being elected to, it really starts to reduce some of the things, because like T.O. was there, but he didn't play there. So you got to really kind of dig for these guys. So by the way, we're doing 3 wide receivers. You get 2 outside and 1 slot guy. So who are your wide receivers for the AFC?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, Joe, this was a tough task here. Like you mentioned, a lot of the best receivers are in the NFC, and we'll talk about that when we get to the NFC side. The NFC is obvious. Like the choices over there, the selections over there are just freaking cookie cutter. Just mail them in. They're the easiest choices ever. But AFC was tough. Again, I'll give some honorable mentions here. Reggie Wayne, obviously the Indianapolis Colts receiver that, made his fame with Peyton Manning. He's up there. His numbers are ridiculous. DeAndre Hopkins is someone that I really considered that I did not end up putting in. I like D-Hop a lot, but I like these guys that I'm about to pick a little bit better. Also, Tim Brown, 7th all-time in receiving yards. Nobody talks about him as like one of the greatest receivers of all time. Played for the Oakland Raiders in the 90s and 2000s, but he's one of the greatest receivers of all time. Tim Brown is. And then there's some young and up-and-comers. Obviously, you could go with a Jamar Chase, from the Cincinnati Bengals as well. That's someone that you could go with. But these are the guys that I'm going to go with. In my first one, people are going to be very emotional about this one because this guy is a very emotional human being, and he's a very eccentric human being. But, and listen, Antonio Brown, listen, off field, this guy is a freaking Looney Tune off the field. This guy, you have no idea what he's going to happen. His CTE levels are off the charts. We've never seen CTE like the CTE in Antonio Brown's brain. It is unbelievable what goes on with Antonio Brown, okay? But on the field, he goes band for band with anybody of all time. His prime, Antonio Brown's prime, is one of the greatest primes of all time. This guy, listen, 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro. He obviously was a Super Bowl champ, but that was in the NFC with Tom Brady. 2013 to 2018. Go look at his numbers. His average per season, 114 catches, 1,524 yards, and 11 touchdowns. And that was in 16-game seasons, by the way, not before that 17 games. So, again, that was his average. That wasn't even like a good season for him. That was an average season for him. And that's the greatest season for 99.999% of receivers of all time. So, again, one of the best receivers ever, whether we like it or not, whether we agree what he's done off the field or not, this guy is one of the greatest receivers that we've ever seen. And despite the off-field insanity, he should be in the Hall of Fame. And I think whoever our quarterback's going to be, and I think we all have a great idea of who our starting quarterback's going to be, is going to be able to keep him under wraps because we already seen him keep him under wraps and win a Super Bowl with him. So, again, Antonio Brown has to be in there for me. Now, the second and third receivers, I didn't know before the show if we were going to go 2 receivers or 3 receivers. So I was kind of debating between these two. But now since we can go with these two, both of them, I'm going to go with both of them, okay? I think I'm going to play AB a little bit more in the slot because he's a little bit more versatile. But I think 2 of the 3 of these guys are pretty interchangeable. So these are the guys I'm going with. My ex-receiver is going to be Andre Johnson, 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro, led the league in receiving yards twice, led the league in yards twice. He also led the league in receptions twice, 3 1,500-yard seasons, and 11th all-time in yards. And he did all of that work with Matt Schaub being the best quarterback that he played with. So imagine Andre Johnson plays with one of the great AFC QBs that we're about to mention, whether it's Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes. Imagine Andre Johnson gets to play with one of those guys instead of Matt freaking Schaub. No disrespect to Matt Schaub, but again, he's not nearly on the level of those guys, okay? So Andre Johnson, again, 6'3", 230 pounds. He was better than DK Metcalf before DK Metcalf, and you're putting him with a great quarterback now. So I got Andre Johnson as my second option, and then my third option, I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison from the Indianapolis Colts. He obviously an amazing career for Marvin Harrison, Hall of Famer, 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, Super Bowl champ as well. He was on the All 2000s team as well. 1,100 catches for 1,458 yards or 14,580 yards and 128 touchdowns in his career. Obviously, the number 1 receiver for Peyton Manning. If you're the number 1 receiver for Peyton Manning, whoever the hell the AFC quarterback is going to be is going to really, really love Marvin Harrison and this receiver core. So for me, the receivers for the AFC, I got Antonio Brown. Again, controversial selection, but hey, on the field, Antonio Brown, second to none. Andre Johnson, and then I got Marvin Harrison as well.
Good setup.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. So I was struggling to decide who my wide receivers are going to be when I was trying to make my list because, I like to make a list too, just even if I'm not going to say the players. And I was sitting there, I was like, Marvin Harrison, Antonio Brown. I could play. Antonio Brown made his living outside, but he can play in the slot. He can move around a lot. He was very, plug and play. Marvin Harrison has to be on the list. And I was sitting there, I'm looking, I'm like, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, I don't know. Andre Johnson. I wrote D-Hop down twice and erased him twice. It was rough, man. This is not easy to pick a wide receiver in the AFC. And it was like, you try to think, and you're like, what are you talking about? There's so many AFC Super Bowl teams. How did they not? And you're just like, how did they not? Mm-hmm. And then you look at the NFC and you look at Randy Moss, who never won a Super Bowl. It kills me. Okay, but we're going to move on. to the running back position, and the AFC running back picks to me, simple. This is an easy choice. I made 2 picks. I have my change of pace back, who I think is going to be perfect in this role. Also can carry the load if need to. And I have my workhorse. I have my workhorse back. I'm going Derrick Henry as my workhorse back, and LT.
Perfect selections.
I cannot. I was like, you know what? I started racking my brain. It's like, oh, do I feel like that's good enough? Do I feel like that? Yes, 100%. LaDainian Tomlinson is bar none, hands down, and he can carry the load too. People forget just how lethal this man was. The ball with. One of my favorite plays all time is watching him running down the sideline, put the brakes on, ball goes up, hand goes up, guy flies in front of his face, just steps right into the end zone. Like, it was the most insane juke. Just on a dime, stop, went great. Love this guy. I wanted him to win a Super Bowl. However, the problem was he always ran into the Patriots and Tom Brady every single chance. And let's be fair, Phillip Rivers also not a bad quarterback. He just happened to be the 4th best quarterback in a loaded AFC at the time. So Derrick Henry, LaDainian Tomlinson, that right there, if I'm looking there and then there's a 2-back set and those are the 2 guys back there, I am terrified.
Well,
terrified.
Joe, people like Christian McCaffrey nowadays, like what he can do on the football field. Like, imagine Christian McCaffrey, but better. That's what LaDainian Tomlinson was. Like,
healthier.
Again, his 2006 season might be the greatest running back season of all time. 1,800 yards, he had 31 touchdowns in a single season. LaDainian Tomlinson did 31 touchdowns. Yeah. And again, he had a season as well where he had 100 catches. So again, you put him in a more passing era, like this era with the quarterback that we're probably inevitably going to select here or coming up soon. Again, this guy is going to cook. And then, like you mentioned, the compliment with him and Derrick Henry. Oh God, defenses are not going to like that at all.
Oh yeah. So great segue, Matt. We are going to shift to our quarterback selection. We are going to pick a starter and a backup. Chris has our quarterback position. And Chris, once again, this seems like such an easy pick for you, but go ahead and tell us who your starter and your backup quarterback is.
It is. I've gotten it really easy with the AFC thus far with my selections here. I think it's pretty much obvious. Tom Brady is going to be my QB1, obviously. I love Peyton Manning, but to me, he would be the backup. Just because I feel like, though I do think Peyton Manning was a great regular season quarterback, I look at Tom Brady and I feel like he way overshot Peyton Manning when it comes to going into like after the regular season is done and going into the postseason. He was just on a completely different level. There was a lot that you could do that you just couldn't stop him, really. Like, you could have, must we go back to the famous game, right? Like, you could be up by 20 plus points from him and you still have to try to pay attention because you have to guarantee he is going to make the craziest comeback ever heard of, and that we talk about it all the time now, right? So you can't talk about the best AFC offensive team and not have this guy as your QB1. It's impossible. Whether you're a Patriots fan or not, it doesn't matter. Tom Brady he's just one of one, in my personal opinion. Yes, I love Peyton Manning. Yes, there are a million other quarterbacks out there that I love as far as like Hall of Fame quarterbacks, even quarterbacks right now that are in the league, and including Patrick Mahomes. I do like them as players, but I still think Tom Brady is the GOAT, will remain the GOAT for a very long period of time, quite honestly, because what he has done throughout his career, it really has never been done before. And then, yes, you go back to the dude was a 6th-round pick. And look where he started and where he ended and all he was able to accomplish in that time frame, given the majority of people barely thought he was going to be a backup quarterback. And what he was able to do with that and how much he's inspired with kids coming. Like, there's just so much that he's done. You can't go into this AFC offense and say, oh, there's another quarterback I would select over him. There's no way in hell. There's absolutely no way in hell. So Tom Brady, absolutely. I don't need to go into his acclimates. We already know all this. So Tom Brady is my QB1. Peyton Manning will be my QB2. And either way, even if Tom Brady goes down, which is highly unlikely, you still have Peyton Manning in the background who is going to play at such a high level just as Tom Brady. You don't miss much if that so happens.
Chris, I will say, I never thought I would be the one to do this, but I'm going to make an argument here for Patrick Mahomes being the backup quarterback for the AFC. And listen, and listen, nobody's mad with Peyton Manning as the backup quarterback for an NFL team. Good Lord, nobody's pissed off with that. I don't think anybody would ever be mad at that. But again, what we've seen Patrick Mahomes do in the playoffs, whether we like it or not, whether you think he's the greatest quarterback ever, which some people do, and that's stupid or not. But again, what he's done in the postseason is like laps around Peyton Manning. Like, it's not even close. Like, Peyton Manning is easily the greatest regular season quarterback of all time. It's like Brady, Montana, and then Mahomes as far as the greatest postseason quarterbacks of all time. Whenever the moment gets the biggest, we see Patrick Mahomes play his best, and we couldn't say that for Peyton Manning, regardless of how great his regular season career was. So again, I don't want to be the one to do it, but I think Patrick Mahomes is a little bit better.
I will go on this route and say, prior to starting this, that all of my selections were majority of people who are already out of the league. I did not really select anybody who was currently playing outside of, obviously, Travis Kelce. That is the only one out of my group that I have selected that is still currently playing. So I will say that. I didn't even consider him because, to me, he hasn't retired yet. So I considered people who have already retired.
I mean, to be fair, just imagine LaDainian Tomlinson, Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson sitting back there, all right? Or LaDainian Tomlinson, Derrick Henry, and Josh Allen sitting back there, all right? Like,
we wouldn't even need receivers.
Yeah, we would. They would be out there. We would have picked our receivers. Would have just been extra offensive linemen to block. All right, we would have went jumbo sets. It wouldn't have mattered. It would have been over, and it would have been great. But I mean, you're not wrong. Like, if you look at historically, guys who have their stories written, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady are the best who have their stories written in the AFC. Josh Allen, we haven't seen in the playoffs, but great years. Patrick Mahomes, we've seen in the playoffs. We know what he's capable of. And, Lamar Jackson, I mean, that's a 2-time MVP guy right there, right? Like, the guy is absolutely fantastic. And so we could have picked any of those guys to go in there, and it would have added a different dynamic to this team. However, to Chris's point, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, you can't be angry, especially with the offensive line we put out there. We do not have mobile guys. But if you want to talk about navigating a pocket, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady are the best non-mobile quarterbacks to navigate a pocket I've ever seen in my life. So you can't be angry with that. I think this offense is absolutely great. Be sure to tune in to our next episode, which is going to be breaking out the defense that we'll be comparing them against to see who would win between the NFC and the AFC all-time teams. Next episode, NFC defense.
This has been Between the Uprights. Football is life. The rest is just details.